are watching what's happening around the world, and we will learn from the experience of other countries affected by COVID-19 before we are, and what works and what doesn't. We know the strategies focused on testing and contacting tracing and social distancing. Without reservations, without pause, we must fight for every inch of ground against this disease. This is our duty. This is what will save lives and health come roaring back. We will rise to the challenges. This is a fight like most of us have ever faced. It will test us all in our own way. This disease has already taken too many people from us. If you have lost a loved one, know that our mournings with you through these incredibly difficult experiences. With the typhoons and earthquakes, Japanese people can understand how important it is for all the different sectors to come together. Please be strong, be kind, and unite against COVID-19. For now, we may not have experienced anything like this in our lifetimes, but we know how to ready and we know how to look after one another. And what could be important than that? Creative, practical, community-minded. We are good, fair-minded, and decent, kind, loving individuals. We needed to mobilize at the best in our people rather than allowing the worst. Don't lose the passion. Don't lose the outrage. Be frustrated, but be smart and be directed and be constructive and destructive. Help your community. Don't hurt your community. Be a razor and focused on real, positive, and change. That is how this moment becomes a different moment in the history books. That is a drill that reminds people to work together, to work with the earthquake disaster, prevention, and timely response. This crack in this society will become a social object that people can gather and talk about and innovate upon common values. For each person, it is a really, literally, just washing their hands with soap and putting on a mask. Seems like a small things, but it changes the world if you can understand the science behind it. Confronting adversity. Do we yield to anger, fear, and bitterness? Or will we we will be true to ourselves, stand firm, make tough choices, and continue to trust and depend on one another. At another hinge in our history, it is our time to face the crisis of a generation. The choices that we make now will define who we are as a people and what values and ideals we passed on to future generations. Some buckle under pressure and emerge from crisis diminished. Others grow more determined as they face fearful odds, discover results of strength in themselves, and emerges from crisis transfigured, renewed. They were rebuildings, their transport, trade rings, they're working hard to retain and attracted talent and investment to contribute to their recovery. International trade and investment may shrink, but they will not disappear entirely. Some flow will be diverted or dry up, but other new channels will open up. There will still be overseas markets and opportunities for international partnership. Viruses pay no attention to borders, race, nationality, or gender. They are the shared enemy of all humanity. It will be the shared enterprise of all humanity that finds treatment and vaccine that protect us. Look after your mental health and well-being as well as your physical health. Please don't forward or share messages that are from other unreliable sources. So much harm has already been caused by those messages, and we must ensure our communities and the most vulnerable from the contagions of fear. Fear is a kind of virus in yourself. When you do to make sure you are not sick, what you are using a good hand washing practices and you are keeping your distance. For our nurses, doctors, paramedics, and custodial workers, healthcare workers, police officers who showed up every day in our truckers, cashiers, firefighters, transportation workers, grocery stores, pharmacies, providing all these essential services, and all frontline workers. Their bravery and courage is reborn. They are our heroes now and standing on the shoulders of those who came before. We are all being called up to join them and to serve. Pubs, bars, restaurants must close, except for takeaway and delivery services. Non-essential shops, rages, and entertainment will also be closed. We are all social beings after all. We have to do this because we have to protect our neighbors and our friends, our more vulnerable seniors and people with pre-existing conditions. In this fight, we can be in no doubt that each and every one of us is directly enlisted. 80% are going to self-resolve. 20% are going to need hospitals. It's not about that. It is about a very small group of people, elderly, older, compromised to immune system, that they are HIV positive, or they have emphysema, or they have underlying the heart condition, bad asthma, they are recovering from cancer. Those are the people who are going to be vulnerable to the mortality of this disease. It is only 1% or 2% of the population, but then why all of this? Because it is 1% of the population. It is lives. It is grandmother, grandfathers, and sisters and brothers. How do you use the energy to mobilize the people to actually reform society and make things better? Hate has caused a lot of problems in the world, but it has not solved one yet. Don't tell me that we cannot change it, because we know we have and we can. Change comes on the moment when the stars lines up. It is not easy, but when the stars line up and the people are ready to change, they can change. We are changing the world right now. The world is changing because of your participation on this conversation.
Bye.